So you got him activated here. Good morning, Mr. Title. How are you?
What's up, Frost?
Yeah, it's good. I'm great. How are you doing?
Matt
Every's in here with me, so
hey, Tony.
if you need any
Hey,
golf
Matt,
lessons.
how you doing?
Good, bud.
Yeah, I need a little golf help. Well, there's no golf in the near future, buddy. Golf.
That's too
No
bad.
golf.
I was looking forward to going on a little trip with you, but I guess that's not going to happen.
I know. That's all right. This is.
This
I
is a
gotta be
dream.
honest. This is more fun than playing golf.
Tell me the role, Tony. Let's talk turkey here real quick because it can mean different things in different places. So as best as your impact can be, what will Tony Boselli be doing to guarantee us the Super Bowl that we all crave?
Yeah, I mean, I think Shaw. I mean, it was laid out in the press release, and I'll get.
Yeah, I hear from you.
Kind of clearly. Yeah. But I mean, so basically, the way that's going to be structured is that you're going to have myself as the EVP of football operations, our new GM when we find one, and then coach, all reporting directly to Shad, and we will all together. We'll all make big football decisions, but at the end of the day, the GM is responsible for the draft, free agency, trades, cuts, all the player stuff, all the scouts, responsibility for that. I mean, head coach is pretty easy. He's the head ball coach. He's going to be coaching the plays and players and staff and everything that's most important. Actually, the most important thing is what happens on the field every day, and especially on Sundays and some Monday nights. Hopefully, when we're one of the best teams in the NFL, and we're playing national games every week. And then I will be over responsible for the operations. So all the departments and staff that are responsible for supporting both of those groups, the head coach and the GM. So that's how we're structured. But there's going to be one voice, and it's the head coach's voice. And really, it's the one voice is going to be all of our voices because we're going to get together on big decisions and how we do things, and we're all going to agree and come to the right answer. And then we'll have one voice in the organization, but it's going to be led by the head coach. Because what's most important, well, ultimately, is head by Shad Khan. He's the owner. But what's most important is winning and losing football. Not losing, but winning football games. That's the most important thing. And we're gonna have an organization that does everything we can to support the head coach, his staff, and the players on the field. Our GM and our scouts to go find the best possible players we can in both free agency and draft. And the goal is there's one goal. And that's to win a Super Bowl. But in the process of winning the Super Bowl, we want to make sure we're set up for sustained success year in, year out, where when it comes to the month of December, we're fighting for the division title and playoff seeding. That's what we want to. That's who we should be, and that's who we're going to be.
I think there's a separation and balance of power that's almost necessary in organizations, and I think we haven't had that here, Tony. Right? When's the only time a GM and coach came in together? Was that Caldwell and Gus? So, there's a bit of a fresh start here, too, that I think lends itself to success with you and Liam and whoever that GM is. Does it make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I mean, I think the last time we, and I think this is correct, the last time we had brand new head coach, brand new GM, this is a new role that Shad's created that I'm going to be in. Let's just focus on the GM and head coach. The last time we had that was, I believe, Dave and Gus.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which was quite a long time ago.
15 years almost.
And we've learned a lot since then. And Shad's been an owner now 13 plus years. And the one thing that in this role, it's only been a short time, but being part of the process of finding a head coach and working very closely with Shad. And I've had, a great relationship with him since the day he's gotten here. He's been really good to me and his whole family has. But getting into the process and just early stages of this role, the one thing I can tell you is we have an owner that is committed to winning. There is not a doubt in my mind. And Shad Khan is a competitive person and he wants to win. And because if you look at the organization as a whole, we've done great things, and he's been a great owner. I mean, we're gonna have a new stadium in 2028. We've got one of the best practice facilities in the NFL. Every coach who comes in is like, this place is amazing. We have, he's invested on the riverfront. I mean, so many things. Now what we got to do, because what the fans want is wins. They want a championship, and that's what we're going to go get done, and we're going to work our tails off to try to bring the Lombardi Trophy to Jacksonville. That's the ultimate goal, and that's what needs to happen.
Tony, what is okay with that mindset now? We're not doing Monday morning quarterbacking anymore. We're doing building a team. And I know we have talked here on the air and off the air for eons about directions this team should go, moves that should be made for this team to get better. I guess rubber meets road. And I know you're not picking the players, but you're certainly picking along with the picking. I mean, so to have the ability to do that, to have this, quote, responsibility / opportunity for a guy who's been in football and done everything and played it at a Hall of Fame level. Just give me your feelings on it as you sit here a day after getting that job.
Yeah, I want to emphasize one thing you said.
Yeah.
Tony Boselli is not picking the players.
Correct.
Tony Boselli is not the voice in the building. The head coach is the voice.
Gotcha.
It's his culture. We're going to support that. We're going to make sure that happens. And I think one of the things that you got to get away from is, when we pick a player, the key word there is we. Just like I laid out, everyone has responsibilities, but we're going to work together. And when we pick a player, it's going to be our player. And if it works, great, we'll high five and we got the right guy and everything else. If we end up making a mistake, then guess what? It's our mistake. We're going to get rid of this. It's amazing in the NFL, Jeff, and you know this. When a team picks a great player, everyone gets credit. Everyone wants credit. Everyone gets credit. It's like the Jaguars picked a great player. But then if it doesn't work out like everyone thought it was, then we're all looking for who made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Let's blame one person, and we're going to get rid of that. We're not going to do that. That's not going to be our style. We're not blaming people. We're in this together. So that's first and foremost, because we are in this together as an organization. That's how Shad wants it, and that's how we're going to do it. So as far as, listen, and this is what I loved about Liam. Everyone talks about Liam and the dynamic offense and the creativity. And everything he did and proved that he is more than capable of at multiple places. And just last year at Tampa, that offense and what they did, and people forget he did it with his two of the best receivers in the NFL, out for 6 to 7 weeks together.
Correct. Yeah, we're aware. Yeah,
it's amazing. And so, but what at his core, what he believes is the game is won at the line of scrimmage. So we have to get the offensive line and the defensive line right. That is the focus.
Well, we've said that a lot of Mondays, Tony. We've had this conversation for a lot of Mondays. He's got to, he's going to have an ally in you when it comes to that.
Oh, you guys know how I feel about the game of football and how it's played, the right way to play it. And that's one of the things. All the other stuff, there's a lot of things I liked about Liam, and when I was excited that Shad made the decision that was the direction we're going to go. But just spending the last, I guess it's been about 8-9 days now, or however many days he's been the head coach here, and spending a lot of time with them, and as he builds his staff and assisting however I can in that process. But just getting to know the individual, the man, that's his core belief. He has a strong conviction how this game's going to be played, and we're going to go we're going to go do it. We're going to execute. We're going to go build great offensive line, great defensive line. We're going to play fast. We're going to be dynamic. The creativity's there. Just go turn on the tape of what he does at Tampa. But you can't get to that unless you can go block them up, and you can't stop people unless you can control the line of scrimmage and stop the run. So, obviously we're very early in the process. We're just getting going. Ethan Wall right now is an interim GM. He's doing a heck of a job. I've been super impressed with him. He'll have a chance to interview in the process, and we'll see where we end up with the GM. But right now we're just kicking it off and getting going. On that process, but we're going to go find the best players we can. But you got to be good in the offense and defensive line.
Tony, how do you identify guys for positions that they haven't held yet? Right? Do you do it like what common sense like we would? You look at a guy, what organization he's come from, what decisions those organizations have made, talking with people within that organization about said guy. Is that basically what you do? There's this observation, and you can tell me the other side of it, of the experience level here, right? You get to go into a front office position, a position you haven't had before. You've got a head coach who's never been a head coach, who's hired a defensive coordinator, who's never been a defensive coordinator. We'll add a GM, I suppose, who's never been a GM. Give me the other side of those facts.
Yeah, no, that's listen, we're in a production business. We got to go prove it. It's great. I'm excited for this job, and I'm glad everyone's excited that I'm in this role. That's outstanding. let me tell you what, starting today, that excitement is going to be in the back of my mind, because just like Liam's got to go prove that he's going to be a great head coach, which I believe he is, but it's about production. It's about results. And now the process is critical. We're going to focus on the process, but at the end of the day, we're all judged by wins and losses and kind of how we execute the process and how we do our job. And so I got to go prove to Shad Khan, because he's trusted me with this role, and I got to go prove I can do it. And I got to go prove that I can do my job at the highest level. Liam feels the same way, and we're going to find a GM to do the same thing. Now, you asked a great question, Jeff, because, we might hire a guy who's done it before. We're going to go through a lengthy interview process, and we're going to talk to guys who've been in that seat before. But we're also going to talk to guys who've been assistant GMs and head of college scouting and everything else in the NFL. And so what we're doing in some cases is, it's almost like the draft in some cases, because when you draft a player from college, you're making a bet. You're trying to project, can they do it at the next level? And we know throughout the history of the NFL draft, sometimes you're right, but sometimes you're wrong. And the best are wrong sometimes, because you're projecting. There's no guarantees there. And as we go through the GM process, I at least approach it kind of the same way. If you decide to go with an individual who's actually never sat in that seat, you gotta understand who they are as a person. First and foremost, what kind of man or woman, because there's no reason a woman can't be a GM, what kind of man or woman is that individual? What kind of character, what kind of integrity do they have? That's first and foremost. We want to understand the person. And then after that, what organization do they come from? Because, was it a successful organization? Who were they mentored by? Who have they been under? And so you gather all that information, and then you want to understand, what's the vision? What's the vision for the team? How do you see it? How would you go about it? Because you want to make sure after you get the right.
What just happened? We good?
Trained
there
up in. Okay. And then understand, what is their vision? You got to make sure that lines up with how we see it. And because alignment is critical, you got to communicate. You got to be able to have hard discussions, and at the end of the day, come to an answer. And then everyone has to own that. And so it's a lengthy process. But when you talk about guys or gals who've never done something before, you're making a little bit of a bet. You're trying to project how they'll perform at the next level of their career.
I'll endorse Caitlin Clark. That's it on that one.
If we were playing basketball, that'd be a good
gotcha.
pick right there.
Yeah, I got you. All right, just one last question, and then we'll let you go. What time can we expect the press release that we've traded for Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp? Are you ready for that one? Every time every time someone comes available, we're going to go get them. So 4 today, maybe.
Yeah. You never know. It's funny that the text messages, Jeff. You and I are on some of those text messages together.
Yeah.
It's like that's like playing fantasy football.
No, trust me.
And listen, Myles Garrett and Cooper Kupp are great football players. No doubt about that. But we'll wait and see how this thing goes out. And there's a lot of things that go into it, as you guys know. It's fun. It's fun for our fans. It's fun for everybody. I mean, when I do it, I think you kind of think through what you could and couldn't do and everything else. But it's a little different I'm in now. So now you got to sit back and say, okay, wait, it's not quite that easy. Just go and say, I want that guy. I want this guy. It's a process, and you got to look at your whole roster. And as you guys know, there's a ton of things that go into it. But yeah, I thought that was interesting. Myles Garrett, in my opinion, probably the best overall defensive end in football.
Yeah, I'd give up. I'd give up half your roster for him. By the way, so don't put me involved. I gave up half the team this morning. Good thing you weren't listening. Sure. You'd have a big job coming up this offseason. My friend, I'm happy for you. I really am. Good. Do yeoman's work. Build us a winner. And if you ever have any questions, of course, Dan and I can give you the right answer.
Yes, I know. If I know for sure that if I ever need to give Liam or whoever our new GM is going to be some advice, I can just call you and Dan, and I'm sure you guys got all the answers.
We like to say, what we tell people is that we, quote, have you in our pocket.
Oh, perfect. Yes, that's great.
You could blame us on the picks. Yeah, that'll help you. All right, Tony, thank you. Have a good day.
It all starts
with
Dan Hickett and Jeff Frost.
He had to give him that one on the way. See you, Tone. Thank you. All right, let's take a quick time out. Come back with a 10-minute drill. You are listening to 1010XL 92.5 FM on a Catlin Drug Accessories Tuesday.
Hey, Mia here, and thanks so much for watching 1010XL Jaguars. For even more coverage of the Big Cats, be sure to subscribe to 1010XL Jaguars. Bye.